Your soulmate knows you're the first person their heart never stopped wanting. My beloved child, listen closely and let these words settle gently into your heart, because there are moments when a person can spend so much time trying to move forward that they eventually discover they never truly moved away emotionally. Your soulmate may have tried to continue their life, may have tried to become comfortable with distance, may have tried to convince themselves that what happened between you belonged entirely to the past, but somewhere beneath all those attempts, one truth continued to remain. You were the first person who reached a place within their heart that they could not simply erase. You were the first person whose presence made them feel something they could not easily explain. You were the first person whose memory continued returning even after they believed they had buried it. My beloved child, perhaps you have wondered why this connection has felt so unusual. Perhaps you have experienced moments when you suddenly thought of your soulmate for no obvious reason. Perhaps memories appeared unexpectedly. Perhaps you remembered a conversation, a look, a small moment, a promise, or even something that seemed insignificant at the time. And perhaps you wondered whether your soulmate ever remembered those same things. The truth is that people often carry memories differently than they display them. Someone can look calm on the outside while carrying an entire emotional history inside. Your soulmate may have been doing exactly that. My beloved child, your soulmate may have spent a long time trying to convince themselves that they were fine. They may have filled their schedule, focused on work, responsibilities, friendships, distractions, or other relationships. They may have told themselves that life had moved forward and therefore their heart should move forward too. But the heart does not always obey the calendar. Time can pass without changing the emotional meaning of a person. And sometimes the more someone tries to forget, the more clearly they discover what they never actually released. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate's biggest surprise has been realizing that you were not simply a passing emotional experience. You became part of their internal story. They may remember who they were before meeting you and who they became after knowing you. They may remember how you challenged them, encouraged them, understood them, or made them feel seen. They may remember that around you they could sometimes be less guarded. They may remember conversations where they revealed something they normally kept hidden. They may remember how easily certain moments felt. These memories can remain powerful because they are connected not only to another person, but to a version of themselves they experienced around that person. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate has tried to find that feeling again. They may have met other people. They may have experienced attraction, companionship, excitement, comfort, or even relationships that appeared stable from the outside. Yet something inside them kept comparing those experiences with what they felt with you. Not necessarily consciously at first, but gradually. They may have noticed that something was missing. They may have wondered why they could talk to someone else but still think about the conversations they once had with you. They may have wondered why another person's presence did not create the same emotional peace. They may have wondered why your memory continued to return. And eventually, they may have had to face the possibility that their heart never stopped wanting the connection it had with you. My beloved child, this does not mean you should stop living and wait for them. It means that if your soulmate is reaching this realization, their emotional journey is becoming clearer. But clarity must eventually become responsibility. If they truly understand what you meant, they must decide what to do with that understanding. They cannot remain forever inside regret. They cannot remain forever inside nostalgia. They cannot simply miss you without taking any meaningful action. A feeling can begin a journey, but a choice must continue it. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate has been asking themselves a question they once avoided: what if I had chosen differently? They may replay old moments and wonder what could have happened. They may remember times when they had an opportunity to be honest but remained silent. They may remember moments when you reached toward them and they pulled away. They may remember decisions made from fear rather than love. These memories can create regret, but regret is not the final destination. It can become a doorway to maturity if a person is willing to learn. My beloved child, your soulmate may now understand that the first person their heart truly wanted was someone they did not know how to hold on to properly. They may recognize that they were not emotionally prepared. They may recognize that they were afraid of vulnerability. They may recognize that they allowed circumstances, other people's opinions, fear of commitment, or personal insecurity to influence decisions that should have been made from honesty. This realization can be painful, but it can also be transformative. My beloved child, you may have felt that your soulmate did not value you because they did not act the way you hoped. But behavior can sometimes reflect emotional immaturity rather than absence of feeling. That does not excuse harmful behavior, and it does not mean you should accept it. It simply means you should not automatically assume that silence tells the entire story. People can care deeply and still behave poorly. That is why love alone is not enough. Emotional maturity is necessary. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate is learning that lesson now. They may be realizing that wanting someone and being ready for someone are different things. They may have wanted you but lacked the courage to build something real. They may have felt connected but lacked the communication skills to express it. They may have feared losing you so much that they created the very distance they were afraid of. Sometimes fear creates the outcome a person was trying to avoid. My beloved child, if your soulmate is recognizing that now, let them recognize it fully. Do not rush in to make their realization easier. Do not immediately remove every consequence of their past choices. If they truly want another chance, they need to understand that rebuilding trust requires patience. They need to understand that your heart has its own history. They need to understand that you are not standing in the same emotional place where they left you. You have changed. You have grown. You have learned. My beloved child, perhaps you have become stronger because you had no choice but to become stronger. You learned how to continue through uncertainty. You learned how to survive unanswered questions. You learned how to stop chasing explanations. You learned that you can miss someone without losing yourself. You learned that you can love someone and still protect your peace. These lessons are valuable. Do not give them up simply because your soulmate may return. My beloved child, if your soulmate approaches you again, let them meet the person you have become. Do not shrink yourself to recreate the past. Do not pretend nothing happened. Do not erase your boundaries because you are afraid of losing another opportunity. If there is a new chapter, let it be new. Let it have new rules. Let it have honesty. Let it have consistency. Let it have mutual respect. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate's greatest realization is that the person they never stopped wanting was not necessarily the person they were constantly thinking about every minute. It may be the person whose emotional meaning remained even when daily life became busy. They may go days without consciously thinking about you, yet something can still remind them of the connection. That is how emotional imprints work. They exist quietly. They can remain beneath ordinary life. Then one moment can bring everything back. My beloved child, maybe it happens when they see something you once loved. Maybe it happens when they hear a familiar song. Maybe it happens when they pass a familiar place. Maybe it happens during a difficult night when they wish they could talk to someone who understood them. Maybe it happens after experiencing disappointment and remembering how safe your presence once felt. These moments can reveal what a person has been avoiding. But remember, my beloved child, a realization is not the same as a commitment. Let the difference remain clear. My beloved child, you should never have to build an entire future around someone else's hidden emotions. Hidden emotions are not enough. You deserve visible respect. You deserve communication. You deserve consistency. You deserve someone who can stand beside you without making you wonder where you stand. If your soulmate truly wants to return, they must bring their truth into the open. My beloved child, perhaps they are preparing to do exactly that. Maybe they are becoming more honest with themselves. Maybe they are acknowledging that they have not been as happy as they pretended. Maybe they are questioning choices they once defended. Maybe they are beginning to understand that convenience cannot replace emotional connection. Maybe they are realizing that they chose what felt easier instead of what felt more authentic. These realizations can create a turning point. But again, let them act. My beloved child, you do not need to chase a turning point. You do not need to manufacture one. You do not need to send a message just because you feel emotionally restless. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is remain still long enough to see whether the other person is capable of moving toward you on their own. Imagined what life could have been. They may still imagine what life could become. But imagination must eventually become a decision. My beloved child, if they want a future with you, they must be willing to create it in reality. They must be willing to have difficult conversations. They must be willing to make clear choices. They must be willing to face consequences. They must be willing to stop living in the space between desire and action. My beloved child, you may have spent a long time in that space yourself. You may have wanted to believe that their silence had a hidden meaning. You may have searched for signs. You may have hoped that one day everything would suddenly become clear. But perhaps the clarity you need is not a prediction about what they will do. Perhaps it is clarity about what you will accept. That is within your control. My beloved child, decide now that you will not abandon yourself for the possibility of another person. Decide that you will remain kind but not powerless. Decide that you will remain hopeful but not consumed. Decide that you will remain open but not endlessly available to uncertainty. This is how you protect the love within you. My beloved child, your soulmate's realization may be happening at the same time as your own. They may be realizing they never stopped wanting you. You may be realizing you never again want to lose yourself in waiting. That difference can actually create a healthier future if both of you honor it. They must move toward clarity. You must move toward self-respect. When those two paths meet, something new can begin. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate has recently been looking at their current life and noticing what does not feel right. They may have realized that they are living according to expectations rather than genuine desire. They may have recognized that they have been avoiding difficult decisions. They may have discovered that keeping everyone else comfortable has left themselves emotionally empty. And when they ask what they truly want, your memory may come forward. Not because you are a fantasy, but because you represent something they once felt deeply. My beloved child, this can be a difficult realization. Choosing what you truly want can disappoint people. It can require change. It can require courage. Your soulmate may have avoided this because they did not want conflict. But avoiding conflict does not create peace. It simply postpones it. Eventually the truth demands space. My beloved child, if your soulmate is reaching that point, their next steps may feel slower than you want. Growth is rarely instant. They may need to untangle circumstances. They may need to understand their own emotions. They may need to decide what they are willing to sacrifice for authenticity. You cannot do that work for them. Let them do it. My beloved child, while they are doing their work, do yours. Build your life. Strengthen your confidence. Create memories that have nothing to do with this relationship. Discover interests that make you feel alive. Spend time with people who support you. Give yourself experiences that remind you that life is much larger than one unanswered question. My beloved child, if your soulmate returns, you will have more to bring into the relationship because you continued living. You will not return as someone who waited in emotional darkness. You will return as someone who grew. And if they do not return, that growth will still belong to you. My beloved child, there is no losing when you choose growth. There is no losing when you choose peace. There is no losing when you choose self-respect. The only loss would be abandoning yourself to keep another person's attention. Do not do that. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate once assumed that you would always be there. Maybe they believed that no matter how long they stayed away, they could eventually return. But time changes people. You may have learned that access to your heart is not permanent. It is something earned through respect. If they come back, they may discover that they cannot simply step into the old role. They must build a new relationship with the person you have become. My beloved child, that is not punishment. It is reality. The past cannot be repeated exactly. If something is rebuilt, it must be rebuilt with new understanding. Perhaps this is what your soulmate is finally realizing. They may understand that losing you was not only losing a person. It was losing an emotional possibility. And if they want that possibility again, they must become worthy of participating in it. My beloved child, your worth has never depended on whether someone recognizes it immediately. Some people understand value only after distance. Some understand it while they are close. Some never understand it. None of these outcomes changes your value. You are valuable because you exist, because you have a heart, because you have dreams, because you have the capacity to care, and because your life has meaning beyond another person's perception. My beloved child, let this truth become your foundation. Then whatever happens with your soulmate, you remain grounded. If they return, you are not desperate. If they stay away, you are not destroyed. You can feel sadness without losing yourself. You can feel happiness without becoming dependent. You can love without surrendering your identity. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate's heart has been sending them a message they can no longer ignore. The person I truly wanted was not temporary. They may be beginning to understand that some connections are measured not by how long people were together but by how deeply they changed one another. Your connection may have changed them. But again, my beloved child, change must eventually produce growth. If knowing you made them more honest, more compassionate, more courageous, then the connection had a meaningful impact. If it only created longing without growth, then the lesson remains incomplete. My beloved child, you do not need to complete their lesson for them. Let them learn. Let them choose. Let them face themselves. Your job is to remain true to yourself. My beloved child, perhaps one day your soulmate will tell you that they never stopped wanting you. If that moment arrives, allow yourself to hear it. You do not need to immediately decide everything. You can listen. You can ask questions. You can take time. You can observe. You can allow the emotional shock to settle before making choices. There is wisdom in slowing down. My beloved child, if they genuinely care, they will respect your pace. They will not pressure you. They will understand that trust cannot be commanded. They will understand that your heart remembers both the beautiful and painful moments. They will be willing to rebuild slowly. That willingness is important. My beloved child, if instead they demand instant access to you because they suddenly miss you, remember your boundaries. Someone else's urgency does not automatically become your responsibility. You can care about their feelings while still protecting your own. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate is learning this too. They may be realizing that love is not possession. It is not about having access whenever they want. It is about mutual respect. If they truly want to be part of your life, they must respect the person you have become. They must respect your choices. They must respect your boundaries. They must respect your time. My beloved child, this is what can transform a painful past into a meaningful future. Not simply strong feelings, but strong character. Not simply longing, but responsibility. Not simply memories, but present-day action. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate's heart never stopped wanting you because the connection touched a deeper need for authenticity. Around you, they may have felt that they could be more honest. They may have felt that you saw through their defenses. They may have felt that they did not have to pretend. That can be both beautiful and frightening. Being truly seen can make someone feel vulnerable. Your soulmate may have responded to that vulnerability by pulling away. But now they may be realizing that vulnerability was not the problem. Their fear of vulnerability was the problem. My beloved child, if they have learned that lesson, they may be more prepared to speak openly. They may finally understand that hiding does not protect the heart. It simply delays the inevitable. If they care, they must communicate. If they want you, they must choose. If they have changed, they must demonstrate it. My beloved child, you do not need to guess forever. Real life eventually reveals what hidden feelings cannot. A message. A conversation. A decision. A consistent effort. These are tangible. Let them guide you more than assumptions. My beloved child, perhaps the biggest shift will happen when you stop asking, "Do they still want me?" and start asking, "Would the person they are today be healthy for me?" That is a powerful question. It moves you from longing to discernment. You are not only asking whether someone desires you. You are asking whether the relationship would actually serve both of you. That is mature love. My beloved child, your soulmate may desire you deeply and still need to grow. You may love them deeply and still need to decide whether they fit your future. Both can be true. Love does not eliminate discernment. It makes discernment more important. My beloved child, perhaps this is why your journey has taken so many turns. You are being taught not simply how to recognize love, but how to recognize healthy love. Healthy love does not require constant guessing. Healthy love does not depend on hidden signals. Healthy love can have difficult conversations. Healthy love can survive boundaries. Healthy love can tolerate honesty. Healthy love allows two people to remain individuals while building something together. My beloved child. If your soulmate returns, let those principles guide you. Do not let nostalgia make every red flag invisible. Do not let longing make you ignore patterns. Do not let the excitement of reunion erase the lessons you learned during separation. Remember what happened. Remember what you need. Remember who you became. Then decide from wisdom. My beloved child, perhaps the most meaningful thing your soulmate can say is not, "I missed you," but, "I understand what I did, I understand how it affected you, and I am willing to do things differently." Those words demonstrate accountability. And then their actions must support them. My beloved child, perhaps you will notice that they are more patient. They communicate instead of disappearing. They ask questions instead of assuming. They listen instead of defending themselves. They respect your boundaries instead of testing them. They show up consistently instead of appearing only when they feel lonely. Those changes matter more than dramatic declarations. My beloved child, if your soulmate truly knows that you are the first person their heart never stopped wanting, they will eventually understand that wanting you requires more than remembering you. It requires building something with you. And building requires effort. My beloved child, let that truth be enough. You do not need to convince them. You do not need to chase them. You do not need to become their emotional therapist. You do not need to solve their life. You can care while remaining separate from their responsibility. My beloved child, perhaps you have carried too much of their emotional burden. You have wondered why they act this way. You have tried to understand their fear. You have imagined what they might be thinking. You have attempted to explain their silence. Today, give some of that weight back. Their emotions belong to them. Their decisions belong to them. Their growth belongs to them. Your peace belongs to you. My beloved child, when you release that burden, you create room for your own life. You begin to breathe differently. You begin to notice things around you. You begin to enjoy moments without wondering whether they are secretly connected to your soulmate. You begin to understand that you can live in the present even while carrying a meaningful past. That is healing. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate is also beginning to live more honestly. Maybe they are no longer satisfied with pretending. Maybe they are tired of suppressing their emotions. Maybe they are ready to admit what they want. If so, let them make their choices. You do not need to push them toward you. If their heart is truly leading them toward you, their own courage must complete the journey. My beloved child, sometimes the most powerful movement happens when nobody is forcing anything. Two people simply become honest at the same time. One stops running. The other stops chasing. One starts speaking. The other starts listening. And suddenly the connection is no longer trapped in the old pattern. It becomes a new possibility. My beloved child, if that happens, take it slowly. Let the relationship breathe. Let trust grow. Let the past be acknowledged without becoming the entire future. Let both people learn how to communicate differently. Let love become steady instead of dramatic. My beloved child, you may have once believed that intensity was proof of destiny. Now you know that consistency is more important. A relationship can be emotionally intense and still be unhealthy. A relationship can be calm and still be deeply meaningful. Do not confuse chaos with passion. Do not confuse uncertainty with mystery. Do not confuse distance with depth. Let reality teach you what love looks like. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate is learning the same lesson. They may be realizing that the person they never stopped wanting is not someone they should keep hidden in their heart forever. If they truly care, they must eventually honor the feeling through responsible action. That may mean a difficult conversation. It may mean ending an unhealthy situation. It may mean apologizing. It may mean asking for another chance. It may mean accepting that you have moved on. Whatever it means, let them face it honestly. My beloved child, you cannot control whether they choose courage. But you can choose courage for yourself. Your courage may look like moving forward. It may look like saying no. It may look like saying yes slowly. It may look like refusing to accept half-love. It may look like letting go of the fantasy while remaining open to reality. Whatever form it takes, courage begins with self-respect. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate's heart has been trying to tell them something for a long time. Maybe they ignored it. Maybe they misunderstood it. Maybe they were afraid of it. But now the feeling may be becoming clearer. The first person their heart never stopped wanting may be the person they once believed they could forget. And that realization can be profound. But again, my beloved child, do not let their realization become your obsession. Let it become their responsibility. My beloved child, your responsibility is to live. Live fully. Love yourself. Build your future. Take care of your emotional world. Surround yourself with people who value you. Pursue your dreams. Let your life become so rich that love becomes one beautiful part of it rather than the only thing giving it meaning. My beloved child, if your soulmate returns, they will be entering a life that already has purpose. That is healthier than entering an empty space created entirely for them. Let them become a partner, not a rescue. Let them share your life, not become your life. My beloved child, perhaps this is the final lesson hidden in the connection. True love should expand you. It should not make your world smaller. It should not make you abandon your goals. It should not make you lose your identity. It should encourage both people to become more fully themselves. If your soulmate can do that with you, then perhaps the connection has a beautiful future. If they cannot, then your growth still matters. My beloved child, there may be a day when you look back and realize that the uncertainty was not wasted time. It taught you discernment. It taught you patience. It taught you emotional independence. It taught you how to distinguish between someone wanting you and someone being ready for you. That knowledge will protect your heart far beyond this one connection. My beloved child, if your soulmate truly never stopped wanting you, then perhaps the future will eventually reveal that truth in a way you do not have to interpret. You will not need to search for signs. You will not need to ask strangers what a certain action means. You will not need to decode silence. Their communication will become clear. Their effort will become visible. Their intentions will become understandable. Let that be your standard. My beloved child, you deserve a love that can stand in the light. You deserve a love that does not require constant secrecy. You deserve a love that can be spoken about honestly. You deserve a love that makes you feel secure rather than constantly anxious. You deserve a person who can choose you without making you wonder whether you are enough. You have always been enough. The right relationship will not require you to prove it. My beloved child, perhaps your soulmate is finally beginning to understand this too. They may be realizing that the first person their heart wanted was not simply someone they were attracted to. It was someone whose presence challenged them to become more honest. If they accept that challenge, they can grow.